Get started with our Commissioner Status Update meeting. Today's date is October 7, 2025. The time is 10 a.m. In attendance are Commissioners Eberline, Duncan, and Matari. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Are there any changes to the agenda?
I think if we can just handle item 2 first.
Any problem?
Nope.
All right, we'll do that. Public comment. Come on down.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ron Hartman for the record. Just a small request. Will you, when you address the topic, will you spell out what HARSB stands for? I have no clue. Thank you.
Yeah, it's Hayden Area Regional Sewer Board. No, okay. Anyone else? Public comment? Hearing none, we'll move into our first item, which is actually number 2 on the agenda. Public Records Request Software. It's a discussion item, and we have our clerk, Jennifer Locke, and Grant Kinsey. Is anyone else coming up? Is that Michelle? All right. Who would like to start?
I'll start first. So we were looking at some public record request fulfillment software or programs, and a few departments got to look at just for you. And how we started about this, we're trying to gain efficiencies in the county and be consistent when fulfilling public record requests to citizens. And so talking with Ada County has just for you, Bonneville County, City of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho State Police, and the Idaho Secretary of State has this program too. So we decided to have like a conference call with them and meet with them and discuss this program. And some of the things that, that I took away from it, and then Grant and Michelle will talk to from the Sheriff's Office, is continuity and efficiencies between departments and system tracking, time spent on request, assigning tasks across departments. Many times IT and legal, IT will pull data for us sometimes with emails, and then legal's reviewing data too. And then obviously the legal review and any redaction needed. It's going to be an easier way of fulfilling these requests, and I think time efficiency too. It'll also bring continuity to the public. So right now, like particularly in my department, we'll get a ton of requests that have to be forwarded to other departments. So there is a keyword function when a citizen's typing in the request, and it will direct them to the right department to send the record request to. So I think that will be efficient for not only the citizens, but for the departments constantly forwarding to different departments throughout the county. Let's see. It'll also allow us to have better tracking of all our public record requests from start to end. It will allow employees to be assigned tasks in helping to fill the public record requests. Many times there can be 2 or 3 people working on helping to fulfill a record request. Again, IT and legal. It also allows employees to keep track of their time in the system, along with allowing the person in charge of answering and completing the public record requests that are assigned tasks to let them know it's been completed from either IT or legal. It'll send them a notification so they can then process that record request to the citizen. There is a capability which is very nice. A standardized letter can be easily created in the system. If a public record request is estimated to take more than 2 hours, it'll allow you also to calculate the time per hour based on the staff that needs to review that request. There's even an option for citizens to pay online instead of coming in or mailing in the payment. And Grant will talk about this, but another nice feature about it, it has unlimited storage when fulfilling these record requests. It'll be easier for citizens to get information quicker. They don't need to bring in flash drives, or we have to burn CDs. Typically if we send an email out, I think it's 19 megabytes or more, it'll bounce back. It won't allow you to send a lot of information when you're sending out an email request to fulfill a record request with data. And then one of the nicest features of this program that we saw, when emails are requested, the system allows us to know the actual page count of every email and any attachments. This will allow us to give the citizen the most accurate estimate time cost. If a public record request looks like it will take more than 2 hours to fulfill. Before, right now, when IT is pulling these email, it becomes like a PST file. We're only seeing email count, not actual page count of every page in that email or any attachments that could have many pages. It'll be easier, I think, for legal to review, and instead of sometimes they have to print them out and look at each email because you don't want to miss an attachment, to look for any redaction or anything that should be exempt. And then the other nice feature right now, because they have, I believe, a state contract, we can piggyback off that. And I think there's a 10% discount. I think Sarah will speak to that cost on there. So those are things that I had that I saw, what we reviewed, but I'll let the other departments speak to it too.
Who would like to speak next?
Oh, I'd love to go next.
All right.
Just push the button on the,
Yeah, just
you
make
go.
sure it's green. There you go.
Thank you. It's a win-win, not only for, our agency, but for the public. Being able to send an electronic response, it will be life-changing. Because right now, again, if the file's too big to email, plus we don't email media, we have to physically mail it. And again, the time it'll save, just the fact that they receive an immediate response that we've received their request is a big deal to the public, as well as automatic delays if needed, if we don't respond within 3 days. The email PST file convert would be life-changing, because right now, to get an accurate count, and like she said with the attachments, we have to print everything out, and that in itself costs towards the advance payment. So that's less advance payment that would be needed to the public, which is huge. Also, how it stores the responses that we send. We can refer to requests that have already been responded to, duplicate requests, so that we can grab the file right out of the system, which is huge. Right now, we store it in paper and, thumb drives and whatnot, so we have to, go digging for the response. It's just the time it'll save will be huge. And again, the tracking, huge. It automatically will log it, where right now we're logging in an Excel file. So there's a lot of room for human error, and that'll basically eliminate that. And again, as a supervisor, seeing how everybody's responding, getting the notices that something might be late, which we never want, is huge, because right now, I have to really pretty much walk around and see what everybody has on their desks and see where they're at, where now I'll be able to view it just right in the portal. It's huge. And the redaction, it has a built-in redaction program, and where right now, if you want to redact, you need an Adobe license, and that's per computer, And it has AI assist on the redaction, so it'll recognize PII, like birth dates and social security numbers. So it's even more that nothing will be missed that shouldn't be released to the public. It's almost too good to be true. It's a fabulous program. It's very exciting to possibly get it. It's huge. Thank you.
Any questions up to this point?
I do. Is there an option for hard copies for old people that,
Absolutely, because you, as a requester, they can tell you how they'd like to receive their response. So obviously by mail or even pickup is an option, and that will be an option for them. That was one of my questions as well. But, and that's a big deal. A lot of them, want the physical copy, and that will always be an option.
But it would still allow us to manually enter that request, so we have that track, and if that data is being requested again, we'll have that in storage after printing it out.
good.
Any other questions? Well, I guess we're on to Grant to answer the $64,000 question of how much does this software really cost?
Well,
And the overall time savings, and how does that relate to the cost versus the benefit?
sure. I'll start by saying we've looked at a couple products already, and this one, in my opinion, blows the others out of the water. It is a fully functional workflow process for this business need. Others tend to meet a lot of the needs that we have, but this one meets all of them certainly, and it actually exceeds some of our expectations out of a software like this. Just to know, so you know what sandbox you're playing in, they're looking at a $15,000 operating costs per year. That's based on county population, which I think is extremely fair. It has me so excited, I actually shared it down at our IAC leadership meeting with IT, so that, this is something that bigger counties like Ada County and Kootenai, yeah, we can use it, but the smaller counties can play with it too, because they, again, it's based on population, which I think is incredible. Again, comparing to other systems that we've looked at, the unlimited storage space with unlimited retention time is something that is unheard of in today's day and age in a cloud repository. What that means basically is we can push this data up into there, and right now, legal, if we ask them how long can we hold this, their immediate response is always forever. We never know if we're going to have a appeal or something, some litigation down the road that requires this data to come back. But there's this balancing act, like with our current archiving system, that will only hold it for a certain amount of time, even if we put a legal hold on that. So it's a breath of fresh air to potentially partner with a system that's not going to make us choose between, the cost benefit of what if we get rid of this data and we need it later on, what potential liability is that to the county. Back to cost, so 15,000 ongoing year after year, and I believe startup costs were around 15,000 one-time fee for this as well. And a lot of where those startup costs come from is, as Michelle was talking about, when you enter the system, we have about 10 different areas in the county where we're going to start filling records requests from. Most of those come directly from depending what elected department you're under. So building customized forms so that once we get the person to the right area, the form is tailored specific to that department or area of expertise. So the company helps us, it comes with one of these forms, but then every form after that there's a charge like $1,000 or $1,500 to build the form, because it's pretty intricate, all the nuances of anything from if you start typing the word police, it's automatically going to start assuming, okay, we need to get you into the sheriff form and stuff like that. So there's a lot of workflow that goes into it. So anyway, that's what accounts for the one-time fees for the setup. I asked a lot of pointed questions during the conversation, because once I heard, of this data repository, bells start going off in my head of what can we leverage this for? There's a lot we can leverage this for throughout the county. First and foremost, the data that Michelle deals with up at the Sheriff's Department. When we're disseminating records, that's one thing, but our records now up there are so much vehicle videos or body-worn camera videos, and you simply can't push those around with traditional means like email, like she said. Even the snail mail with the thumb drive, you can get accounts like you've all heard of Dropbox or Box.com, things like that. But then there's the whole compliance issue of what are these companies doing with CJIS data or HIPAA data or PII. This just FOIA is already completely FedRAMP certified. So all of those questions as to whether we're putting our data safe, it's staying on U.S. soil, all of those questions are already answered. They're already certified for all that. So this company really has it together. It's not that often that I'm a big proponent of software companies, but I'm really impressed with these folks. And I think there's a lot this county can do. I even brought up from the prosecuting attorney's standpoint, I'm glad Stan was on the phone during this conference to hear this as well. I asked them point blank, I was like, hey, if we have data we need to move around the county of this size, but it isn't a public records request, are we restricted from using the system? And they said no. So we have, with the public defender having broken off to be a state department now, we don't enjoy the dark fiber in between our two departments anymore for transfer speeds. And they're literally sending hundreds of thumb drives over for IT to scan, wipe out, make sure they're completely sanitary, give to the prosecutor so they can put it on this drive, walk it over to the public defender. We could potentially use this system to transmit that data electronically as well and automate a lot of processes. That's just one example. There's so many instances around the county where moving data around is paramount, and email systems just aren't designed for the size of data that gets moved in these days. So I've been rambling quite a bit, but there's a lot more to discover, a lot more to talk about, but the rough costs now that they've shared with us. Is there anything specific, any kind of functional questions you have, or anything you're concerned about after anything I've explained?
Any questions?
Just what budget would it come out of?
I think it would make the most sense to put this under IT's budget, if approved, because there'd be several departments using it, if not all departments. And then if we need to decide that, I mean, that's for you to decide how you want to fund that, if different areas need to be contributing to it. I don't know if any of the enterprise funds or anything would be contributing to this. That's nuts and bolts, but it would make most sense probably in IT's budget.
I have a couple questions for you. How does the software access the PST files? Do you pull them and upload them into it, or is it have access automatically?
No.
Okay.
No, and I'm glad you brought that up. So yes, we would, that would be IT's part in one of the records requests. IT always produces the PST file and then disseminates it to the department. What we'd be doing is uploading it into the system so it would enter the workflow for people to work on it. And what's really cool about this thing is it directly understands what a PST file is. There's no more of this attaching a PST file to Outlook and then reading the emails and figuring out what we need. It goes through and opens up the PST file, including the attachments, like the clerk was talking about, gets us those page counts. It's helpful for them from a clerical standpoint. But also what's really cool is no matter what comes out of this system, it always outputs in a PDF, which, I mean, you can open a Google browser and read a PDF. So, Commissioner Eberline, to your point, when this data is disseminated to the public, we don't have to have people jumping through hoops and reading instructions and trying to learn how to attach this file just to be able to read the record they've asked for. It's probably the most universally accepted way to share text data is through a PDF, and that's what this system will output for them. So it does all that conversion on the fly for us, where that was, you know, just one more task that took extra effort. As recently as just a few months ago, I was working with your staff to find a good system for doing basically a lot of the things we've talked about here, and this does all that just on the fly natively and more.
And another thing about emails, just really quick, when we send our response, because it's through the portal, it won't corrupt future searches for emails, because when they want to go back 2 years, it doesn't bring the email back to life 2 years. It completely keeps the search clean.
When you say keeps the search clean, is that in the software or in the Outlook?
In our emails. Like when we're searching for keywords or subjects through the emails the requester wants, every email with this word in or this subject. Emailing, we don't ever want to email emails because it just brings all those emails up to where they were, up from where they were. So it keeps future searches clean.
Okay, so out of curiosity, we have a retention policy in our emails. It's what, like 2 years or something like that? Okay, and then earlier you said it stores this forever.
Right.
Okay.
We can purge the data.
Yeah, you
I'm
can.
sorry, I'll let you finish your thought.
So, yeah, because that leads to another question of, we don't want data forever sitting somewhere.
Right.
If we have a retention policy that says we destroy the data after a certain amount of time.
Right.
Okay.
So what the system does is, when I say store forever, we're talking about the end product. So the actual data that was served out, which it's gone through all its vetting, the attorneys have looked at it, the custodians have looked at it, everyone's determined this is public record. So that's what we're saving on the system. So saving public record is not a liability to the county. The reason we have the 2-year retention on our email system is it's what's allowed by the federal government, and it also prevents that liability of having to have a system ourselves that preserves that data for so long and protects the integrity of that data. What I'm getting at here is, if we were trying to do that and that server breaks, now we have to do a bunch of reporting and everything like that. So by keeping it to 2 years, we can keep the system up to date. It doesn't become this big balloon of data. It all works out. So what we're able to keep forever is what legally is to our benefit to keep forever, which is the end portion of the request. What we don't want to keep forever is every single email that was ever written.
I get that. My point is that I think one of the issues that we've kind of experienced in the past was a discovery that, oh, there may have been something kept, right?
Yeah.
So now people are going to know we're keeping this public record forever, and they're going to want searches through those to ensure that there's no communications that may be relevant to a case
Valid
or
point.
something else. And so that's why I'm asking these questions a little bit, because once you start storing data forever, you open the door for it being searchable forever.
Certainly.
Under certain requirements.
And I should be clear that when I'm talking about storing forever, I'm not talking about every search we make. I'm talking about when there's, say, a murder trial or something, and we've got that where records request that does require us to keep it forever. Now we've got a safe place to keep it, where it isn't getting balanced against the cost per storage versus keeping it. There are things, and legal can counsel us on this. I would think if we proceeded with this system, just like we do with the internal system, we would have a process for purging data under the same, it'd probably be 2 years, just like everything else. That said, there's always this concept of what we call a legal hold in this process, where if there's something going on, we would be able to keep that forever.
And you can segment it.
What's that? Yeah, we could.
So they have a way to partition that, forever data versus, just your regular public
My
records
understanding is
request.
Yeah, it does have the legal hold retention ability on it, so.
Okay.
Yeah, where before on our system that we have right now, that's a dollar equation. As we start doing those legal holds, we have to push back to legal to some degree and say, well, that was a massive records request. If we hold that on there, that means that we either have to pay more for our system or purge other data off. With this new system, that
I understand.
particular thing.
It's just, you'll have a new database for public records requests, which will be all the other public records requests.
Yeah.
In essence, so, okay. Look, it sounds like a great idea. It sounds like it's very efficient, and it'll save the county money. There's just some details that you probably just want to make sure you address like that.
Yeah, we've definitely kind of scratched the surface of it, having only a couple meetings with these companies. But I'd say it is the time where, we bring it to you guys, get you involved, and so that as we come back with more information, you can
Okay. Well, would this
vote on it.
Would this board like to proceed with the next steps with this software?
Let's take a look at it.
Yeah, okay. There you go.
And
Okay.
then we'll just need to make sure that we update our public record policy to,
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Any other questions? No? Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. On to item number 1, HARSB timeline update, and that's the Hayden Area Regional Sewer Board timeline update, and Commissioner Duncan.
yes, so this is for the dissolution process, and I did send, I gave you a recent email that gives some dates on there. So the one that this board, 2 dates that this board needs to be concerned with is October 22nd, and that is where the entity rate study, so the study that's going to go into how much it's going to cost when the county and the sewer district become clients of the city. That's their methodology. So I will not be in town for that. So if both of you want to go, then we need to notice it as a regular county meeting. And if only one of you wants to go, then that's not a problem. And if neither of you want to go, there's plenty of documentation for it. So that's why I'm just here today to gauge, who's
Well-
interested in that.
Ultimately, we're a very minority stakeholder. So, how much say should we have, would you recommend?
So this is just the methodology, and it's done, it's just the rate study, and it's done by people that we've used in the past, and it's very solid. So if the district has problems with it, then the county can step in and make determination. But at this point, it's fine for us.
Yeah, I would lean towards hopefully that the district can agree to this, because if they don't, then I think the board should be involved.
Yep.
I don't think any one commissioner should be like a tiebreaker vote, if you will.
I agree.
So with that said, I would say whether we're there or not, if Mark and I want to be there, we should definitely notice it.
Yes.
Do you want to be there, or you want to think about it?
I'm fine with it.
You want to attend? Okay, well then Commissioner Eberline will attend.
Okay. Perfect.
Where is it at?
I'll get you all that information offline. All right, and then December 3rd, which is the mediation, that actually, I believe, has changed to possibly December 9th, but I haven't gotten an update of that date. So again, December 3rd, I am not here, so if the date has changed, we'll be fine with that. And it's not up for a vote today on our agenda, but we'll need to figure out who's going to do that mediation. I've been involved with this since 2019, so I figured, I would be the first to volunteer, but if somebody had strong feelings otherwise, we could talk about it.
Well, do you have thoughts on that?
Go for it.
I just assume you've been involved. I mean, there's nothing worse than someone getting involved at the 11th hour who doesn't really know the context of the history behind it. But you're going to be out, so are you going to be able to manage to that?
Well, if the date has changed, yes. If the date is that date, then no, one of you will have to go.
Well,
Is it
And
flexible?
actually, Gaston is an option as well. Gaston and our attorney can attend.
well, then why don't we, since that's a little ways away, why don't we just kind of
Yeah.
wait and see what happens?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
That is it for Hayden Area Regional Sewer Board.
Mark, you got anything? No? Okay. That is item 1. On to item 3. This is KCSO helicopter insurance. And the main reason that this is even on here is because the board got an email from a person who's in the insurance business. They saw an article in the paper and offered to help provide some quotes. And I personally always like people who take the initiative, because they're at least worthy of consideration. I know that Commissioner Duncan has been working with our broker of record, John Getty, on getting some quotes. And the only reason that I would even really want to entertain a conversation with another broker is just the fact that sometimes you can get very disparate differences on quotes, because people just look at things a little differently. But I don't know if this would be the right person for that particular situation. And we put an executive session on here, and I don't even know what would be the trigger for that. So I'll let Commissioner Duncan.
So Darren had sent us an email, and he has some recommendations. There are some decisions that need to be made with insurance going forward before all of the quotes come in.
Okay.
So,
Well, then, should we go into executive session?
yes. So I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74-2061D.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chair Matari.
Aye. 10:53, I'll take a motion to exit executive session.
I move that we exit executive session with staff to proceed as discussed.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chairman Henry?
Aye. Next up is public comment. Would anyone like to speak? Hearing none. 10:54, meeting adjourned. Thank you.